Okay, so we're loving our RC hobby and we're buying lots of different quads and cars and things that we're playing with, and what we're winding up with is a load of batteries. Single cell ones, twin cells, 3 cells, triple cells, there's 4, and they go up to 8 cells, so for the real big boys. Biggest one I've got is 3 cell at the moment. Now I've got a lovely little gadget that I bought to check them with, to test them with, and that's this little thing here. And I'm going to do a separate tutorial on that, basically, or a review on it, and show you how I use it. So I'm not going to have that today, but that's one to look at. I'll put a link down in the description of where you can go and find that to look that up. But basically it's a Lipo battery voltage tester and low voltage buzzer alarm. Great little bit of kit, a couple of pounds, so won't talk about that too much today. But it's the fact of charging all these different ones. So this is only probably, I don't know, 10-20% of what I've actually got. So you wind up with masses of chargers that you've got to have with you and everything. So I wanted something really simple. The route I went down was to get this charger here. It's a professional balance charger. It's an iMAX B6 and it's made by SkyRc, and I know it's a genuine SkyRc because it's got this hologram on the back here, and that's vital as far as I'm concerned. They're not expensive to buy. I'll put a link and the prices down the bottom here of what they are currently. You can buy them cheaper and they look exactly the same, but I've seen videos of them catching fire. They don't charge your lipos correctly, and when you understand a bit more about the actual charging and how the lipo batteries work, you do realise you do want something decent. And honestly, it's only between £5 and £10 difference in price, and as far as I can see, I think you only buy one of these once basically, unless it goes drastically wrong. I've had this for months and done hundreds of charges with it and not had a single problem with it. Right, so that's the actual charger that we're going to be talking about. Now when you order it you get loads of cables, absolutely loads of cables. The only one I really found very useful for me was this one here, and basically that just plugs in red to red, black to black. It can't be a lot simpler than that. And then the exit is here, and then we can put different adapters on here. So if we want to go for an XT60, which goes on the larger batteries, we can just plug it into there, plug in our battery, and off we go, and I'll show you how I set all that in a second. But if we're doing smaller ones, like the JST ones here, you can get the other, buy them with the adapter. I think this one actually comes with it, but I'll check that and put a link to it if it doesn't. But this one actually comes with it, I'm sure it does. But what it doesn't come with, and I found these useful, is you can actually buy these, and again I'll put the links in the bottom. It charges 5 cells at once basically, so you plug it into there, and then you basically plug it into there like that, and then obviously that just plugs into your battery. I would make sure they were all pretty much the same, because this is not going to balance charge, because it's just basically sending it down. It's got no way of checking it. So my theory is to always run them down to about the same level and then charge them all back up the same as well, and then the same on the little tiny ones, on the single cell ones, with this connector here. So again you can do 5, so if you get a few minutes of flight and you've got 5 of them and you can put on charge, you can fly quite a lot really. It always takes about an hour to charge, so you know roughly what you're doing there as well. So works for me anyway. So I just pop all those off and just pop that out of the way. The one thing you don't get with this, and it's the important bit that goes in this end, is the actual mains power supply. You do get one that goes to a battery, so you can run it off a 12-volt battery when you're out. You can buy these when you actually buy the actual charger, but what I did was I just checked what way the DC in was there for the plus and the minus, and then I just checked on here that it was round the correct way. You can go up to 5 amps maximum into this. I mean, it does warn you here. Oh no, sorry, it doesn't warn you there, sorry. It does warn you in the paperwork and everything. The paperwork's very good on this, by the way. But basically you can only go up to 5 amps in. This is actually a 4 amp one. And I've found out I've got quite a few of these different sort of chargers, and they're all the same way round. But please do check obviously with the plus and the minus. This is actually off an external hard drive of one of my computers, and the hard drive is gone, so I've wound up with 2 or 3 of these. But if you haven't got this, then they're not that much to buy. But you definitely do need that as well. That won't come with it, so just be aware of that to order that as well. So, and one other vital thing you'll need is a Lipo or Lipo guard bag to charge your batteries in. So basically they can catch fire when they're charging, or they can basically catch fire anytime if there's a short circuit in there or anything. And this will make an awful noise. There we go. Basically it's fireproof inside, or fire retardant inside. I'll put a link down where I got mine from. You can get them in various places. Just make sure you don't pay like £1 or £2 for them, because you won't be getting one that's actually fire retardant. Just be very careful with these. But that's the other thing you'll need as well. But I'll do at the end a full list of the things that I recommend that you have, and it really won't be that much, but that's vital. Okay, so before we start charging, lots of different batteries, as we said earlier. You notice on some of mine there's elastic bands, and some there isn't. It's a little system I use. If it's not got an elastic band, it will fit into a battery bay on a quad or a car, so therefore it's ready to run basically. So that's the way I do it. So I know that one's fully charged, ready to run. If it's got just a loop of elastic band around it, so it's come off the quad, I've been out flying or whatever, and swap the battery over. I keep a couple of them on my wrist, flick it over, and then in the box I know that one's actually been used, so it's ready for charge. And then, so's that one as well. And then this one, if it's got the cross on it, it means I've been home basically, and I've put it into storage, so it can be stored for as long as you like, which is, you know, I know exactly what it's the state of any of my batteries straight away just by looking at them, so I don't have to go around using a tester. Talking about testers, I've got a separate video out on this little, it's about £2 I think to buy this. Absolutely brilliant piece of kit. You just literally plug it in, and I always get this round the wrong way, there we go, just to prove my point. And then it gives you a load of information, but there's a separate video on that, so please do have a look at that if you're interested in that. I highly recommend those. Okay, on with actually charging a battery there, or how we connect up to charge a battery. I'm just actually going to put that sort of there, so I'm hoping the LCD will look a lot better there for you. So connect to the mains. There we go. I've already connected this, so basically this is that connector that converts it to an XT60, which is most of the big batteries will run an XT60, or you've got other adapters as well. So I'm basically going to plug it into the XT60, so we're getting a full feed on that. And then what we need to do is just pop it into here, because this is a balanced charge, so there's 3 cells in here, and I need to charge each cell. If I'm charging it ready to run, it will be up to 4.2 volts. If it's going into storage, then a storage cell is about 3.8. So we would set it differently on here, which is what I'm sort of going to go through. If I'm going to put it in, if I'm going to do it so it's ready to run, I would take the elastic band off, and with a fully charged battery you shouldn't really leave it more than sort of 3 days. You start to deplete the efficiency of your battery if you leave it more than 3 days. A week would be far too long in full charge mode. That's why we have a storage mode, and that's what I'm going to go through. So reading off the battery, it says 1.5 or 1500 milliamps. It's a Lipo charge, and there's menus here that you can pick what sort of battery you're doing. I only ever do Lipos because that's all I basically own. But if you want to go through the different menus, you can press this stop button, and it's got program select Lipo battery, obviously NIMH if you wanted to. Like I say, this thing charges everything NiCads. And then you can save and load data. I've never bothered with any of that, to be honest. I just use it as a basic charger, but just a good quality one, to be honest. And then background in the loop to the program select Lipo battery, and then I just simply press the enter button here. And then you'll notice it's got Lipo charge. If I now use these status buttons here, or the little arrow buttons above there, I can choose whether it's Lipo charge or Lipo balance, or Lipo fast charge. I never use that. Just heard that it's not really a very good thing to do. You should charge Lipo batteries correctly, and they are quite dangerous if they're going to catch on fire or anything. Overcharging, fast charging is not a good technique. And then we've got Lipo storage. So let's just go back to the balanced one. It's where I want to be. Now it's a 3-cell battery, and it's actually set on 2.7, and this is actually 1500, so this is actually a 1.5. You just basically, as it says there, 1.5, you just basically come along 3, move the decimal point along 3, and that tells you what rate to charge it at. You shouldn't overcharge with the rate. If you set it low, so at 1.0 or 1.2, it would just take longer to charge, but it will charge safely. You shouldn't go over the 1.5. Hence, if you're using a 3000, which is a 3.0 on here, it's okay to do it at 3.0, but don't do it anymore, basically. Okay, and so that's on the wrong setting here. To enter that, we just press enter, and then that starts to flash, and then we can go up or down here. So just quickly get that down to 1.5. There we go. And then if I wanted to change this one here, I mean it is a 3-cell, which is fine. I just press enter again, and it moves the control menu over to this one now. And let's just, out of interest, put it up on, say, a 5-cell, but it's not a 5-cell. So let's just see what happens. So we're ready to charge. Basically everything's plugged in. I haven't put it in the Lipo bag because I'm actually going to sit here and we're going to do this, but I'll show you how I use the Lipo bag in a minute for safety. And I'm going to press the button, and it's saying it wants to charge at 18.5 volts. And it's, whoa, hang on a minute, there's something wrong here. It tends to come up with a low battery warning, so there's something wrong. Okay, so we press stop to accept that there's something wrong. Press enter again, and then enter again, and then move this down to its correct state, which is 3-cell, and it will know it's a 3-cell. And then off we go, basically. So hold it down, it goes and checks the battery. Basically it says it's okay, I'm ready to charge if you want, enter to confirm, and stop to cancel. So simply press enter, and then it's saying we're doing a balanced charge. This is the starting voltage, and then it will gradually climb, and oh, here it says it's charging a 3-cell as well. So, and then basically it's a counter then of time, and then how many milliamps it's put in, and if I've depleted it quite a bit, it will probably take over 1,000 milliamps certainly, perhaps a sort of 1200 perhaps, sort of thing. Okay, so that's basically how we do it if we're putting it into to a balanced charge. So let's just stop that. You can stop at any time. Say I wanted to do it as a storage charge, so actually I didn't need to disconnect that, sorry. So as I explained, storage charge is very important. If I've come back, if I've been flying for the weekend, and I know I'm not going to be flying Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I put all my batteries down into storage. There's several ways you can do that. You can connect something that will draw power off, get it down to a reasonable stage, but you could drop the battery down too low. If you go down below 3 volts per cell, it would be quite easy to do if you had something plugged in. If you would go down to like 2.9, there's a possibility you will never recover that battery. So the battery will be dead. So these can work out quite expensive. So I never tend to do it that way. What I tend to do is just go and run the quad. I mean, I just run the quad for a while, bring it down till I get the alerts. And actually in the other video I show how you can just plug that into one that doesn't have alerts on it, and there's a way of setting this for alerts, so that's another useful thing there. Or you can just do it on here, but it does take quite a long time, and I'll explain why it takes a long time now. So I'm going to go on the status again, come along to Lipo fast charge, and these are cyclical, the menu, so it would just go round and round again, sort of thing. But Lipo storage is what we want. Now I can't alter this any higher, it only discharges at 1 amp. So if you've got like a 3000 milliamp, which is basically a 3 amp, it's going to take a long time to discharge. That's why I just go and run the quad, to be honest. 10 minutes flight is going to get any battery right down, so that's it's a good excuse to go flying as well, to be perfectly honest. Make sure it's on the correct 3 cells, and make sure both of them are plugged in, and then it's exactly the same. Just hold down the enter button, it checks the battery, makes sure everything's okay, and then basically you're off and away sort of thing. And again, this will just starting off at 1 amp, and then it will gradually come down, and it will get the 3 cells down to a balanced storage level. So then you can literally leave them as long as you like. When you buy the quad or the car, it's been sat on a shelf probably for months. The batteries have to be in a storage mode then. So, but that I can't emphasise enough. It's really vital that you do this with your lipos. If not, they won't last. They're not so efficient, and you cause all sorts of problems. To be honest, leaving a full charged lipo is not really a good thing to do. And what I do with mine is, if I'm leaving them in the van and we're going out for the day, into the motorhome, sorry, and we're going out for the day, I put them in the lipo bag. I just find it's just much safer that way. There we go. So that's about everything I can say about that, really, to be honest. I find it a brilliant piece of kit. Now, you might have noticed that, well, let me show you what the problem would be if I try and put this into the lipo bag now. Okay, so we got our lipo bag, so we're going to be very good and put it in there. You could actually stick the whole lot inside if you like, but then you can't see what you're charging, well, you can't see how much longer it's got to go. It doesn't count down, it only counts up, but you know roughly an hour-ish is about right if you've got the correct amount of milliamps going in. So this has got a very long lead, but unfortunately any of the balance charger leads are always going to be short because they're hardly ever used on the quads, to be honest. So what I did, and I suggest you do as well, buy yourself a little extension. I'll put a link in the bottom, but to be honest, they do them on eBay. Have a little hunt around, but again, it's something else you'll need when you're buying the charger. So that gives me just an extension, and you need one of these for every one of your different batteries. So a 2-cell, you'll need another one, etc. If you're charging the little small cells, so you've got single cells, obviously you can just dump the whole lot of that into the lipo bag. And you should use the bag for every battery you're going to do. It's not just for the big ones, they can catch fire. I mean, I wouldn't leave one charging in the motorhome, shall I say, because that will literally go up really quick. And then all I need to do is just literally pop it right in the bottom of the bag. And then if there's any chance of a fire or anything, I've never had it happen, but I really wouldn't want to risk it either. If it's right down the bottom and I just seal it up like that, that can sit there merrily charging away, and everything's fine. I feel quite happy about that. If you're using the multi-cable here, the one that has the 5 different little connections on for charging your single cells, one thing I never do is mix the size of the batteries or the amperage of the batteries. So these ones here are the 600s, 350s, and then we have the 900s here as well. So I wouldn't put a 900 with a 350. I'm not too sure whether it could cope with it, but it's not something I've ever tried. Usually on the smaller ones you usually have 5 anyway, because you fly 5 and charge 5. It would be the way I would do it. It gives you much more flying time, which is what we're all after. So I just simply connect it up. And then I've only got 2 on here, but it doesn't really matter, it works out the same way. So we're on LiPo charge, because it's not a balanced charge, it is just purely, we're just charging. And it's saying a 1 cell, which is correct, because it's only going to 1 cell, even though there's a multiple amount of them. And we've got 2 350 ones here, so that's 700 milliamps. So what I need to do is just drop this down to 7.7 here. There we go, and then we're all good to charge. So press the enter, that's on 1 cell 3.5, so that's correct, and then hold it down and it checks the batteries, and then off we go, and then that will start to charge. Now these are all actually fully charged, ready to go, aren't they? So I just stopped that, and it works exactly the same. So if you had 4 600s, you'd set it at 2.4, because that would be 2400 milliamp. If you had 2 or 3 900s, it would be 900 times 2 or 3. So the only thing you can't do is go over 4 on the output, obviously, because you're only putting 4 in using the mains adapter that I'm using. So that's how I look after my Lipos. Hope this has been of some help. The batteries last a lot longer if you look after them properly.